Hello, one and all. So I don't have my notes. Do I have my notes? I don't believe I have my notes. Give me your notepad. So as you know, I normally do streams in my car now. That's only because I don't have anywhere to do it. I do not have my notes. However, today, I was feeling the pull to come out here. Because I was in the neighborhood. This is a park I used to go to all the time as a kid. Back when, I lived with my family. I say a kid, I mean, I really was in high school, but I'm a kid now, you know. Well, yeah, I'm a kid now. I was a kid then. Point is, back when I was in high school and my young adult years, this was a forest I came to all the time. It was my home away from home. Anytime they were stressing me out or they pissed me off or something like that, just walked. This is a park that used to be a minute or 10 minutes from my house. So I could walk here. If I was mad or something, I'd just leave. Well, I was in the neighborhood, and I've been connecting with nature and reconnecting with my anima. Even been talking to animals, apparently. That's a new gift. But I'm actually here to talk about the rule of 3. And I decided actually it would be a great place to do it is inside the forest. Although I don't want to disturb the spirit and the nature of the forest itself, I just truly felt like it was a good idea to come out here and give this message because this is an appropriate setting. So forest, spirit, if you don't want me here, okay. I just got a response that said it was okay. I'm sorry. So we're gonna sit here and do this YouTube video. I am trying to be respectful, so I will not disrespect this forest while I'm here. So if you tell me to get out, let me know. Okay. So the rule of 3s. It's kind of hard to talk about because it's a little interesting. It's a universal rule that kind of governs our planet and our society. It actually does break down to quantum physics, but there is also the spiritual aspect of it. So, as I was talking about in a previous video that I may or may not have posted yet, if you were to think of energy in terms of numbers, or numbers in terms of energy, 1 is push, 2 is pull, 3 is push. However, the pattern goes 1, it emits a frequency, but it does not receive. It only sends out electricity. 2, if you add a second capacitor, then the electrical current can go between the two. But that's it. And unfortunately, as we have seen in older light bulbs, that does not suffice. They burn out. There is not enough room and, latency between the two. So eventually the energy just speeds up so bad that it just pops. So they're like, all right, how do we increase that? Well then, I don't know if this is the correct word, but then they add in another transistor or a capacitor. Basically one of those silver nodes. They bump it up from 2 to 3. And now all of a sudden, energy can flow. Because now you have 3 nodes. Okay? And the capacity has increased. Plus, now you have a third channel in which you can actually direct the energy. Not manipulate it or control it, but help the flow of the energy. It's not meant as a form of control. It's just the 3 completes the circuit. Okay? So that is the rule of 3s. Things come better in 3s. Okay? There's obviously, you can buy stuff as singles, you can buy stuff as doubles, but on a quantum scale, the rule of 3s holds firm. In fact, if you look up Nikola Tesla, he had this rule of 369, which I'm not even going to get into yet, but I will. Not today. Maybe later. I don't know. So the whole point of this is the rule of 3s, and you can see the pattern in current society. And yourself. There's the mind, the body, and the spirit. Hey y'all, if you guys want to play, you can just come on over. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Okay. You just want to stay over there, that's fine. I'm sorry, I'm confusing a squirrel. So, where was I? The rule of threes. The mind, the body, the spirit. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. I mean, I could go on. There's a list of threes. Heaven, hell, earth. My point is, the rule of threes is a repeating pattern throughout society. Now I'm going to use it to open your minds a little bit as an explanation for the third unseen kingdom that we do not talk about. I'm talking about the DEVIC kingdom. Fairies, dragons, skeletons, alive skeletons, undead skeletons, zombies. Basically, the tales of folklore. Alright? Now, as we've noticed in society, and if we haven't noticed, in society, they always sprinkle truth with lies. And then it's our job to sift through them and be like, alright, what's the truth and what's a lie? So there's always been movies and stuff, and of course everyone's familiar with the ideas of fairies and wizards and dragons, but oh, those are some big fish. Tasty looking fish. ADHD at its finest. So, where was I? DEVIC Kingdom. And the reason I propose that this reality exists is because humans, animals... Wait a minute. Where's that rule of three? What? You're going to tell me there's only two kingdoms? Wrong answer. The DEVIC Kingdom. Okay. Now let's go back to the time of Adam and Eve. Let's go back to when the universe was created. Now, if you believe the Bible specifies the devil as the serpent. So you have the world, which, are you ready for this? Adam, Eve, and the serpent. 3. Alright. Follow along with me here. And then the tree of knowledge. Okay? Well, that tree of knowledge is actually the same tree that goes throughout all of history. In the Norsemen, I think it's like Yargsil. Something like that. Hey guys, no fighting. Come over there, whoop up on both y'all. So there's this third kingdom that we don't typically talk about. And the reason I'm talking about it is because it is coming to fruition. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And the reason I'm going to go into the spiritual or metaphysical meaning to what I believe it is. So you've got the kingdom of man, which is humans, which in my mind represents the masculinity, the go, the drive, the get stuff done. It is the man incarnate, the ability to create and move. And then you have the female, the feminine energy, which is the ability to rest and play and have fun and be creative. And then, ready for this, you have the serpent, which we are taught is evil. But what if that serpent, the apple of evil or the embodiment of evil, which is also depicted as the embodiment of free will, actually represents imagination? Okay? Stay with me here. So you have man, women, and imagination, free will. So I'm going to propose something absolutely crazy. So perhaps the Big Bang did exist. Let's put it this way. Creationism says that didn't exist, but everything else, evolutionism, says the Big Bang happened and everyone spawned from it. I actually do partially believe that. What happened? What if? Let's go with this. Let's just propose it as a question and not solidify it as truth, because I believe it to be the truth. But I'm merely proposing it to you to open your mind and see what you believe. Sorry, nature is very distracting. ADHD's triggering. So, where was I leading with this? Chain of thought, please come back. DEVIC Kingdom, Serpent Imagination. Yes, the Big Bang Theory. So, I imagine, because God is energy. Alright, Mr. Spider, I'm gonna need you to, not sit on my phone, please. Excuse me, sir. You're on my phone stand, friend. Alright, I'll just hold it. It's cool. So, God, every time I do this, I lose track of thought. Okay, so imagine, God was creating the universe. However, the universe is literally spawned from God. So what if God took a chunk of himself and created space in the universe? Because God is infinite, God is energy, God is everywhere. So what if God actually pulled himself back and created darkness or space, liminal space? And then he took that balled up energy, charged it up with intent, and then shot it into the universe. I came to this forest to be alone. Apparently that is not the case. Yeah, whatever. So, you got this ball of God energy that gets charged up and shot out to the universe, and it, ready for this, it explodes and becomes the open space. Now, this is where we're going to cut this conversation off, because it's going to go into a whole nother topic. But, Mr. Spider, can you please go away? I'm just kidding, you're really cool, actually. Fine, I'll move. Or not, you just don't touch my phone, okay? We'll be fine. Just leave the phone alone and we're good. I do apologize about the sun. This is honestly the best angle for me because I can still see. Just because you can't. So, say for instance the Big Bang happened and then God pushed out all this energy, which actually condensed into the 3D. Now we're going to cut it off there. And then jump ahead a little bit to the part where they decide to make the Earth. Now, after they've already crafted the Earth and it is a physical, tangible place, we're going to skip ahead a bunch of years because, honestly, the Earth actually had entities before Adam and Eve. Alright, getting off topic here. But let's say around the time of Adam and Eve, whenever that happened, there was the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, and the DEVIC kingdom. But the DEVIC kingdom may not have been formed. In my imagination, the DEVIC kingdom was the leftover energy. Sometimes it's referred to as form or formless, because the DEVIC kingdom, since it is pure energy, can actually shapeshift and transform to whatever shape they want. They are quantum beings that exist in our reality. They have an understanding of physics and the world around us because they are one with the world around us. In fact, the way it works is human kingdom leads into the animal kingdom, and the animal kingdom leads into the DEVIC kingdom, and then the DEVIC kingdom leads into the human kingdom. So animal kingdom and the DEVIC kingdom are really tied together. In fact, these entities really love to take shape of animals as well. Because for starters, we won't notice them. Secondly, it just feels more natural, you know? It's like, it's nature. We all come from nature. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point I was a tree. That's why we love coming back to nature. I was a fucking tree at one point. It feels like home. Well, we're also fairies, and we're also everything else. We are a part of the DEVIC kingdom. We just get told we're not, and we forget. As I had said in a previous video, I used to be that kid who would run into those fairy circles. You see the fairy circles of mushrooms, and one's like, no, 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 don't jump in those. I'm over here like, yo, dude, let's go play. Let's go have fun. Time warp, boom, into the DEVIC kingdom. And I would always come back. Obviously, I'm still here. There was a few times, but luckily, they love kids. And in the good way. I was also, luckily, I have a pretty decent spirit team, and I also have a dragon on my spirit team. So I'm pretty sure he actually has been keeping me safe. Amongst all the other entities that are on my spirit team. But the point of the story is, these things are starting to pop up. These things, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insensitive. This form or formless is taking form and showing itself again. Back in the olden days, when I was telling you lies are sprinkled into the truth, griffins, vampires, like, where did all of these stories come from? Alright, everything always draws from inspiration of somewhere else. Now, people of course explain, oh, well, vampires came from Dracula. Or, I'm sorry, Dracula came from Vlad the Impaler. You know, maybe that's true. But here's an interesting question. What if Vlad the Impaler actually truly was a vampire, and they were just covering it up? Okay? Have you guys ever seen Abraham Hunter or Abraham the Vampire Hunter? These entities have existed throughout time. Throughout time and space. Okay? This is nothing new. It's just reality finally got to a point where they said, alright, we're gonna put up this mirror that says you don't get to see. Oh my god, is that a baby crocodile? Or is that a turtle? It looks like a turtle. I mean, it's still cool that it's a turtle, but I thought it was a crocodile. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go play with it. Anyways, so there was this wall constructed to separate us. However, I don't know if it was put up by the government or whoever, the FBI, or was it actually put up by the DEVIC kingdom themselves? Because at some point, humans waged war with not just themselves, but with the DEVIC kingdom. Back in the olden days, around the time of the Renaissance era and the Edo period in Japan, which were actual time really existed, demons and these mythical creatures walked side by side, hand in hand with the human race. Elves, druids, gnomes, everyone. We existed on one plane of existence at one point. Together. Now, I don't exactly know why or what happened. Some say it was the boom of technology, and we kind of lost touch with our old ways, and perhaps we actually put up the barrier ourselves. Maybe. And we didn't even realize it. Maybe it was done on purpose. Maybe people realizing technology was actually going to do it on purpose. And that's why they introduced it. Now, I've noticed, and we're going to go into this on another video as well, but AI has taken a step up. That's not a coincidence. AI was introduced to society because the government knew that this invisible wall is being taken down. So they introduced AI to truly make you question what is real and what is not. Because now all these videos are being posted of griffins and other entities. But because the content of the media has been so flooded with fake AIs, everyone's just like, oh yeah, it's just another AI video, and they don't look at it too closely. However, there are those who are actually waking up and seeing, wait, AI, the true purpose of it is actually making me question reality. It is truly making me ask and wonder what is true and what is not. Those videos of the griffin I've seen, those are real, okay? I can't explain it, I can't tell you how, but there are certain people who develop the ability to tell the difference between AI and non. I can't prove it, alright? I can't prove anything I'm saying. I will wholeheartedly say that. You cannot get me to prove it. Because even if I wanted to, even if I were to be in communications with the spirits, which I have been slowly, they are not a parlor trick. They are not your game. They are not characters in your game to play. Okay? So if they don't want to be seen, they don't get to be fucking seen. Alright? And trying to ask to take a picture of him, if they let you take a picture, that's just purely on a whim because they wanted to. Alright? These entities are not meant to be trifled with. They are meant to be loved and shared. Okay? Yes, there are physical entities of demons. Yes, physical giants, physical reptilian people. There are both the energy of and a physical form. There are physical spirits. Just because we can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. Spirits have physical form. Alright? So at some point, this invisible wall dropped down. You know what, actually I'm kind of curious. Let me see if I can meditate on that. Spirit, God, or DEVIC Kingdom. They posed too many dangers to each other. They couldn't get along. The separation began to divide them. And it got to a point where they actually started waging wars with each other. So they honestly figured maybe it would just be better to erect a magical barrier and separate them. Until the time was right when humans could once again accept this and roam with them. Because again, there are neighbors. They're not monsters. They're not horrible entities from another dimension. I've met those. Those things are actually quite terrifying. That has no part in the DEVIC Kingdom. That is not a part of it. That is something else. And that is not something we talk about. But the DEVIC Kingdom that exists on the human world is a part of us. It's not a separate entity. It's not a separate world. It's a part of our world. In fact, it's a part of our natural cycle. Now, I don't know if they are actually in the reincarnation system. I don't know if we actually take part in being an entity like that. Because part of the theory is they don't have souls. And they don't have free will. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I have yet to prove it, but that is the theory. And that is why part of the dark theory used to be, that is why they kidnap humans, that is why they try to mate with them, is so that they can get part of your soul. Now, I don't believe that's true. I think that's just an old folklore someone used to say to get them scared. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. I do acknowledge there are good and bad, or good and bad entities of each. I wouldn't be surprised if there are entities that do harm humans. I'm sure there are. But there are also entities who do not harm humans. In fact, I saw this one video one time of these creatures that they described as vampires. And they even stood up on stage and explained themselves, and they're like, we're not vampires, we are parasitic. But we are what inspired the human race to be called vampires. So, it is very possible these entities are not actually what we depict. It's just a messed up story of a false illusion, basically. I know illusion means false, but... where was I going with this? Well, it's time to welcome them back home. That's all I'm saying. I've been having some pretty weird crap happen to me, and I've been talking to ghosts and spirits and animals again, which are clearly a sign that I'm merging back into the DEVIC Kingdom. At some point, I was told to shut it down. I love playing there. I loved meeting gnomes and fairies and stuff like that. And I don't exactly have any memories of it, but that's part of the forgetfulness. I am getting memories back. Like what triggered it was I actually had memories of playing with an imaginary friend. Now I can't remember what the entity was, but I do remember it was not imaginary. But it freaked my parents out and they told me to knock it off, so I shut it down. However, I've always had entities reaching out to me. I've even seen a dragon. It could have been my dragon, as I was telling you about before. Okay? Now again, I I can't actually prove the validity of any of my sentences, nor am I going to. Honestly, well, there's the wind right there proving my stories. It said, yes, Adam, you are right. These things happened. However, I am not going to prove them either. I honestly do not give two craps if you believe me. It doesn't matter. I'm just proposing information. You take the information with a grain of salt and decide for yourself. Do you believe it's true or do you not? You decide. Now here's the interesting part. Well, where did they come from? They came from, are you ready for this? Our imagination. So this formless energy that exists on top of our reality takes form on whatever we think. That is why these things exist. It's because we used to think like, oh, say for instance, sickness came from demons. Well, yes, actually, in a sense it kind of does. But we would actually be like, oh no, it's a physical demon that's following them around and sucking their life force. Well, back in those days, those people believed that with their whole heart. Like they honestly believed there were creatures and monsters and entities. So guess what? There were. The formless took form and created these entities. And it just keeps going. So imagination is actually breeding these entities. So, we're gonna go walking because I don't like this spot anymore. Oh my god, the tree is moving. Bristol Turtle Man, can you please move? I'm gonna drop this tree in the water. Thank you. I don't want to hit you with a tree. Oh fuck. Shit. Fuck. Damn it. Alright, well I'm gonna try to wrap this up because I gotta be getting home. So what I'm saying is, what I'm here to do is bring awareness to it. Whoa, fuck. Is bring awareness to it. The reason they separated the walls is because our hearts turned to malice. And we began to hunt them. Just like the stories say. We used to make dragonhide armor. We used to harvest them for their materials. And then they said, yeah, we're not cool with that. We're done. So they erected this wall and kind of separated themselves until the day humans' hearts turned back and were allowed and accepting to accept these entities back in. Because they are nothing to be afraid of. They are our fucking neighbors. They are literally us. Okay? Stop breaking out. It'll be fine. The thing is to have peace and calm and tranquility. Because the deal about it is, if you believe they're going to hurt you, yes, they are going to hurt you. Because it is energy incarnated. So whatever you believe them to be, they are a reflection of that. I also know there are good entities. Unfortunately, media has posted all of them as bad. Dragons come in and will cause fire upon the earth and burn everything. Fairies want to harvest you. These want to kidnap and eat you. Like, they went through and painted every single mythical creature as bad. That is not true. Please let that go. If you actually go back and read mythic lore and actual folklore, these entities help out people all the fucking time. All the time. And especially to those who are super nice. In fact, these entities are guardians of the planet. Alright? They have been keeping our planet safe from people like us. We should be thanking them, not harvesting them. So, I think I'm done bitching. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'll give you guys more updates if they want me to. Because as I ingurgitate myself, like I said, I'm never going to go out of my way to prove it to you. But I can definitely tell you the stories and the things I've witnessed. Like, I have seen shadow entities. I have seen mythical creatures. I have seen other things, but I was gaslighting myself to believe that I didn't. Well, now I 100% believe it, because once again, they have been reaching out to me. This is going to sound insane. I am the liaison between the DEVIC kingdom and the human world. Because I wanted to be, just like the Avatar, or just like that girl from Inspector. Inspector, like IN-SPECTRE. That show is an anime about this girl who is in the yokai world. She had to give up her eye and her leg, but she became the prophet, the liaison, or however you say it, of the spirit world. So anytime they had issues that the humans couldn't solve, or that were because of the humans, they would come and contact this spirit girl and be like, hey, can you come please help us? And I'm over here like, alright, well, I just had a pretty mystical experience with a ghost yesterday, and it actually thanked me for helping it out. Okay, so I'm gonna walk into this, and this is why I'm talking about it. I feel like I'm supposed to help, alright? I'm not trying to scare anyone, I'm not trying to hurt anyone. But this is knowledge that needs to be brought forward. And the only reason I'm finally getting to this point that I can talk to them is extensive work on myself. They would not talk to me for a while. So, and now it's gotten to that point, like I said, they're reaching out again. I'm like, alright, let's do this. So, I'm sorry, I should not have smacked you. My bad. I honestly think that's it. I think that's all I have to say. Yeah. Okay. Till next time. I'm gonna go home.